Hey, what's up? So usually I never have a problem with diversity and inclusion in films, but sometimes they just cross the line. I'm talking about the new movie, and you can clearly see, I don't know why Hollywood producers think that remakes need black people. Or I don't know what's this new trend of replacing Asians with black characters. You've seen it with Assassin's Creed Shadows, whereby they've made the protagonist black. No problem with that. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Now we have a movie called The Killer. The original Killer was a Hong Kong movie starring Chow Yun-fat and Danny Lee. Now they've remade the movie, but they've made the main characters black. We have Natalie Samuel and we have Omar Sy, directed by John Woo, directed by the same director, but now we have a different cast. Now I'm watching this and I'm asking myself, why? Why couldn't the producers just tell John Woo, yo, we trust you? I mean, the guy made Hardboiled, one of the best action movies ever made. Then he made this movie, The Killer, 1989, one of the best action movies ever made. Then he made A Better Tomorrow, again, one of the best action movies ever made. Then he made A Hard Target. After that, he made Face Off. Then after that, he made Broken Arrow. Then he made Mission Impossible 2. I mean, why wouldn't you trust this director with an action movie? Why wouldn't you just give the director money and just tell him, go to Hong Kong? We know that The Killer is an Asian movie. You know, there's something about Asian actors that all these other cultures cannot do. One, melodramatization of some scenes. You know, that over-the-top performances. You know, when a person gets shot, you feel like a person has gotten shot. When two people are talking about honor or friendship, you see in how they dramatize it because they overdo it. And that's what makes, especially from the 80s, that is what makes Asian movies special. That over-dramatization, melodrama from those particular movies work very well. Even today, if you look at Asian movies, they tend to overperform. Like when a person is dying, you know that a person is dying. They show it, there's blood everywhere, and they're, oh, I will die, my friend. You see that they always overdo it, and that is what makes their movie special. Now, when you bring a movie like this, The Killer, which was a bloody, melodramatic action movie, and you bring it into the future, and then replace the main character. First of all, you gender swap the main character. Second of all, you race swap the characters. While I wouldn't have a problem with that if it was a good movie, I would have a problem with that if it was not a good movie. If you did not pay attention to the story, if you did not pay attention to everything else, and focus so much on swapping these genders in order to make it feel modern, and then you have a shitty movie, that for me doesn't work. You know, and that's why I'm giving this movie a 0.2 for people who've seen the first movie, because it doesn't live up to that movie. It doesn't even come close. Yes, you have the church scene, you have the same story, quintessentially. You have the killer going to, you know, take out some people in a club, then something happens, a singer is made blind, and then now the killer feels guilty about making this person blind, and then he has to take, in this case, she has to take that particular character and start taking care of her because she feels guilty. You know, she feels guilty about making this character blind, and then there's another drug story, and then now you have the epic church scene during the end because there are cops who are after this killer, and there are cops who are investigating some drug deals, and there's a co-worker with the main killer who is also involved with the drugs. And so both movies have the epic final church scene, but the church scene in the first movie is way superior, and I'm talking about action set pieces, I'm talking about the explosions, I'm talking about the emotional weight of that movie is way superior than what we have in this movie, because you don't feel this movie. Number one, the mistake that they made with gender swapping the characters is that in the first movie, after John Yo-Fat, first of all, before we go into discussing the first movie and the emotional tone in that movie, I need to make it clear. First of all, I'm very happy that Natalie Samuel is out of Kevin Hart's shadow. I'm happy that she was given the lead role in this movie. I'm happy that she's actually a lead in a movie, an action movie, because she has the physique. You can actually, she's kind of made for an action movie, and she's very good at it. And the outfits make her look cool. She looks very good in some outfits. Apart from that, I like that Omar Sy, a French actor who is in a lot of French movies, is also getting the limelight. That we actually see him in a much bigger movie outside what you see him in French movies and Lupin. Now, having said that, this was not the movie. Anyway, now let's go back to what I was talking about, the emotional moments and how the gender swapping affects the movie. In the first movie, which is Choi Yu-fat, a dude, so he goes into the club, does whatever he does, the lady becomes, and this is how the lady becomes blind, because while he's shooting, the flash from the bullet affects the retina of the young lady and she becomes blind. That's cool, right? And so when she becomes blind, he takes her in because he's guilty. He takes her in and starts taking care of her. And so with the taking care of her, they both start developing a bit of emotional connection between the two. You know, first of all, it's brother, sister, then it grows into something more romantic. They start kind of caring for each other. Though there is that, you know, she doesn't know that he's the one who did whatever he did to her. She doesn't know that he was involved. She doesn't know that he was the one who caused her to lose her eyesight. But they develop a relationship. Now, how is that important? That is important because now when you get to the church scene, when the shootout is happening, you care for these two people because you know they love each other. You know that there's like a romantic relationship. You know the blind lady cares for this guy despite the fact that he's the guy who made her blind. And you know the blind guy really cares about this girl because he really likes her. And so you don't want any one of them to die because you want them to survive and live happily ever after. But you don't get that in this. In fact, the first movie has, I don't want to spoil it for people, it's very tragic. Let me just put it that way. It's very, very tragic. There's a scene that the lady, she's blind, something happens to the dude. And so they're trying to crawl towards each other. And then you have the church in the background. You have that beautiful shot of these two people trying to get to each other and the church is in the background. Anyway, they're trying to get to each other and then something extremely tragic happens during that particular period. And I'm like, whoa, I felt it. I felt that. I felt whatever was happening during that period, and there was a weight to what happened to the main character during that particular period. I really genuinely felt that. And then, apart from those two, now there's the cop, Danny Lee. The relationship between him and the killer, the dynamic between this person kills to whatever. His style of honor is different because he's hired to kill people. And then you have this one person who is hired by the government to actually take out criminals and kill people. So they have a very interesting dynamic, almost brotherly. It's more of a bromance because they are really, really good friends. And the concept of friendship in the first movie is so very well explored because there's a concept of honor about these people. And that's why I was talking about Asian performers being different, because that concept of honor, that concept of betraying your friend, that concept of I really worked hard to bring this thing to you because you're my friend, because I did not want to let my friend down. That is turned up to 11 in that 89 movie, and you feel that concept of friendship, you feel that concept of brotherhood. In fact, there's a scene in the church scene where Choi Yun-fat character has to take out a particular character, and he's his best friend, and you can feel that. Before he takes him out, you can feel how emotionally charged that scene is, and they're just goddamn friends. So you feel that concept, you feel that friendship. You know, when they go into now the face-off, where Dan Lee and Choi Yu-fat are together in the church, and now they know that they have to fight. The bad guys have come with their bikes. The bad guys are just walking into the church, and there's a shootout. The doves are flying everywhere. The candles are going out. The people are just being blown off. You know, bullets are going through chest. There's blood everywhere. Choi Yu-fat's suit is all bloody. You know, there's a guy whose face is just full of blood, and the bad guy walks into the church and he has the glasses. I mean, it's one of the most intense. You have the blind girl over there trying to hide, and you're like, girl, come on, you cannot. Girl, I know you're blind, but just try to hide, Banner. You cannot die. We need you in this movie. And so you have that intense third scene in the 89 movie that is one of the most memorable action set pieces. As I've said, it has things that you saw in The Matrix, the way they use slow-mo. Yeah, I know the props are different. The way they use slow-mo in that movie is much more of what The Matrix did. Only The Matrix was flashier, colorful, and they had better technology. But you can see the DNA of the killer, slow-mo, and action and gun work in The Matrix. It was inspired by that. And as I said, they are bad boys. You remember that scene with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith standing up and the camera going around them? We get a scene like that in that movie, and it's a 1989 movie. Anyway, so that was the 89 movie. And the anchor of that movie was the emotional core. You know, the stakes were higher. You felt each character. You understood where they came from. You understood their motivation. You understood what they were going through. You understood the concept of friendship, the concept of the concept of honor in that particular movie. Now, when you come into this movie, this is a much watered down version. As I said, they gender swap the main character, so you don't have that that church moment where it's so intense because you don't want one character to die. It doesn't really, you don't feel the need to care. There's a moment that Nathalie Emmanuel, it's now the killer, is going to take out this girl in a hospital, now the girl who's blind. And you have a moment whereby you don't really care. You don't really care whether she's going to die or not. Yes, you know that the blind girl is a pivotal part of that particular scene, but you don't really care. And even when she's trying to save her, spoiler alert, you don't really care for these people. When the cop shows up, you don't really care. After even they met the first time, even after they do something where he has to pretend to be dead, you don't really care. You don't feel that friendship. You don't feel that sense of, sacrifice. Sam Worthington is in this movie, underused again, because when he's introduced, you're like, yeah, this guy is going to be something. And you don't really feel that when he becomes whatever he becomes. You don't feel the betrayal. You don't feel the, you let me down. There's that lack of that emotional weight with this movie. And I think it would have been attained. I'm not hating on people. I'm a black person. I enjoy seeing black people on screen. But I want to see black people on screen in good productions. Not just any random production where you pick something from the 80s and you remake it and you just throw them in. Why didn't you just let John Woo just pick his characters? Just pick what he wants. Just tell him, yo dude, take all the money, go wherever you want, pick whoever you want. We trust you with an action movie. Go do what you want to do. If you want to go to Asia, go to Asia. Go to Hong Kong. Pick your people and make a movie. Because the director is really good. This is one of the best. I'm telling you. If you've never seen the first movie, you just need to go and watch that movie. Now the props and the sets and the camera work looks like it's from the 80s, but you can see just how creative that they got with them. Now, how many action set pieces are in this movie? You have the car one where the boyfriend gets killed. It's not very interesting, it's not very exciting. It's just there for the sake of being there. It cannot be compared with the first one. There's no way. Then you have the second one, the hospital one. Yeah, that one was a bit okay. I liked it. I liked what they were. It was much intense. And obviously, John Woo breaking glass, doves everywhere. So that is everywhere. People being thrown through the glass. That is John Woo. Is his signature. It was there. Then you have the big church scene, which is now the final action set piece, which now elevated the 89 movie, the first movie, to the best action set piece. But this one is not that dynamic. It's not that big. You don't, as I said, you don't care for the characters, and it just doesn't feel. It's good, yes, but it's not up to par with what you'd expect from John Woo, especially in an age whereby technology has evolved, in an age whereby cameras have become better. I was going there, I was like, no, this could have been this. There's just something wrong with this movie. I don't know what it is, and it's not the director, because you can see his footprints, you can see the doves, you can see who he is, but there are just things that move around that don't make sense. Yeah, there's just something off about this movie. And the most annoying thing for me, the thing that elevated my anger towards this movie is the fact that this is a 2-hour movie. It's a 2-hour John Woo movie. I would expect the first hour to be like setups, set up the main villain, set up the conflict, and that's done. Then the second hour, it's all action. That's what I expected, because it's John Woo, man. That's what I expected, an hour of pure action. Like, they take that and elevate it to, to the next level. They take it somewhere we've never seen before. Anyway, I just thought that this movie, this should have been shot in Asia. This should have been shot in Hong Kong. If they wanted to use this character, if they wanted to work with Nathalie, if they really wanted to work with Nathalie Emmanuel and Omar Sy, they should have just done a different movie. They should have just done a different action movie. And they just tell John Woo, John Woo, for this particular story, do anything you want. Make it an action. Throw in as many explosions as big as you want. Just make a pure action movie. Yeah, have a little story, but just make a pure action movie. Make the stuff that you used to make in the 80s and 90s. Then if they really wanted to make the killer movie, they should have just sent him to Hong Kong and told him to make his movie from there, using the actors from there, using the props from there, using technology from there, because I think they would have done a much better job, especially with the performances. Anyway, basically that's it. If you've seen The Killer 2024, what did you think about it? I personally did not like it. I thought But you already know that I did not like that movie. Anyway, basically that's it. Remember, if you watch it, let me know. Let me know how you feel about it. If you've seen the first movie, let me know how you feel about it. But basically that's it. Remember to always watch what you enjoy. Enjoy what you watch. I shall see you on the next one. Adios.